Commodities are the same. Waste is a commodity.
Unaweza kuwa una make 40k
per day.
Daily.
Per day. And there are people making it.
Si usikia tu phrase ya pesa kama takataka. Pesa, kuna pesa kama takataka. Takataka pia iko na pesa.
Because I remember by the time I was leaving him, I was earning a 6-figure salary. And I remember going to tell him, no, this is not what I studied for. Remember, the dream was to go and work in this cushy job, travel around the world, because this is the image.
You're traveling around.
The city collecting trash. Mm-hmm. So
our guest for this episode, Joyce Gachugi, is the CEO of PAKPRO Kenya Limited, a producer responsibility organization. Lakini story yake inaanzia huko kwa takataka. Sasa hii ndio started from the bottom.
So the closer you are to the recycler,
the more the money you make.
Na by the come to think of it, his story started from the bottom kabisa. Juu story yake inaanza chini ya lori.
I remember he told me, and you get out of the truck, get under.
Joyce Gachugi has over 17 years of executive management and public policy experience, na kwa hii episode lazima utaiona.
And this is where policy comes in. You require people to shift your thinking for you. And that's what policy is supposed to do.
Now, I don't know about you, but there's a bag of excitement that bites me anytime we have a guest talking about their experience of their first million.
Not this your salary coming every month. Mm-hmm. It's 1 million shillings payout here. So like what I did with mine was...
Allah. I'm your host, Dr. Kingori, and here's another reason to stay subscribed to our channel. Come out, just subscribe. Now is a good time to hit subscribe and turn on the notifications bell. Alafu unaweza changamka, like, alafu share so your good vibes zifikie as many people as possible.
I don't even think we've ever started a conversation with turudi mali where your story starts. But from when I met you, there's an image stuck in my head, ukiwa chini ya lori ya Kanjo. Yeah. And I was like, the first thing takuuliza, how do you get chini ya lori ya Kanjo?
So I think for me,
yes,
that was 2006.
Yes.
So of course, a young girl had just completed my coursework for my undergraduate degree at Kenyatta University in environmental science.
Yes.
So of course you have to go for industrial attachment.
Yes.
And like all budding, environmentalists, remember we were a very small class.
Yes.
We were like maybe 21, 26 students that graduated from that class.
Yes.
Very few. Now I hear they're like 1,000 plus, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
So of course the dream was to go to the UN, United Nations Environment Program, and have my attachment there. And so there were a couple of places that I actually did try to get into, but I wasn't able, and time was running out. So I needed to do my attachment.
Yes.
So of course, I think one of my professors said, why don't you just go to the Directorate of Environment at Nairobi City, now that was Nairobi County Council, NCC, there was no devolution at the time, and do your attachment. It's a 3-month program. After that, you can think about work beyond that.
Yes.
So I said, okay, fine. So I did my letter, and I remember the Director of Environment said, they called me and said, yeah, you can come. So I went to work. So day one of work, like everyone else, I thought, smartly dressed. So I had worn, I think I'd worn some trousers, I'll never forget, black trousers and a shirt, an official shirt with black heels. So I rocked up to City Hall Annex, which is where the Directorate of Environment was. And I remember I knocked on the door, and I remember the lady who was at the door looked at me, and she said, okay, come in, and I sat.
Yes.
So I waited for the director to come and to kind of brief me and guide me on what I would be doing. And I remember she came and she said, oh, well, welcome. But I could see the look of confusion. Like, does she know?
That's not
where she'll be working, like how she's dressed.
Yes.
And what she knows she's going to send me to do, they were not in tandem. But anyway, she told me, this is not actually where you report to work. So you'll actually go, where Akamba bus station was? I don't know if it's still there.
It wasn't country bus?
No, not country bus. So Akamba bus used to be, I think, near Savani's. Savani's at
Bookshop.
Somewhere downtown.
Yes.
So downtown, Nairobi County Council, NCC, they have a yard where they park their trucks.
Okay.
And then there are certain supervisors who have their offices there, and they have them all over the city, different places. So this one for Nairobi is actually there. So she told me, you're actually going to go there. That's why you'll be reporting to work.
Na suti yako moto.
There I am with my heels. So I walk, I go across town. I get there. And I remember the supervisor I found was like, we've been waiting for you. You're late. Can you get into the truck? You'll come and give me all this other documentation after you do, because the truck needs to leave. So I was like,
okay.
Truck? Yeah, that lorry. So he introduced me to the driver. He's like, you're going to be going on the collection route with him. Your work is to go and check whether the waste has been collected. You pick it from the different areas where we service, and you tip it at Dandora. Make sure that is done, then the lorry comes back to the station at the end of the day.
That's your work.
Day one. I was like, what? So picture me now, climb the lorry. There we go. So we start, and we're servicing downtown, all over the place. So Nairobi City County Council at the time, I don't know if it's the same now. They used to have
City Council.
Yes, they used to have distinct areas where they service. So like the Luthuli Avenues, Kirinyaga Road, all those downtown was practically, and CBD generally. That's the area we would service. So we'd go pick up all the trash and then go all the way to Dandora and it's dumped.
You didn't have time to change mind that it is not what I said.
No, I'm here now. I'm on the track. You remember I've reported, I've been told to sit on the track, we go. So
and do you have anything in campus that prepared you?
No, of course.
Environment?
Of course not. Nothing in my life would have prepared me to be sitting on a track for waste. Remember, the dream was to go and work in this cushy job, travel around the world, because this is the
But you were traveling around.
the city collecting trash. So this is what the picture I had. Because remember, my inspiration around getting into this space was a family friend whose daughter was working at UNEP, and her lifestyle was so glamorous. I could see.
That's why you studied environment.
Yes. So I was like, oh, this is so nice. I remember telling my mom one time, oh, this is so nice. I like this. And she was like, yeah, it's really nice.
Tutarudi hapo.
Yeah.
But kuzunguka na
yeah, we are in the truck. So we go around picking trash. So a couple of days go by. I don't know whether you remember that time. And I don't know if it still happens. For some reason, I haven't heard about it. But hawkers being chased.
That's normal.
Okay. So Kanjo would come. Operation. Grrr, everyone, the way. So they typically will set up a cardboard box and then have like a cloth on top. They put their things so that when Kanjo comes, they quickly pick up the thing, put up, then take off.
Yes.
So it so happened this day, we were on Kirinyaga Road, and there was an operation underway.
Yeah.
But where we were on Kirinyaga Road was a dead-end road. So we were actually servicing the shops that sell stationery, paper and things like that.
Yes. So
we went and parked the truck on the side. And I remember my driver saying to me, and he said in Kiswahili, he'd call me Wanjiru. He was like, and he told me in Kikuyu, but he said, Wanjiru, kuna operation leo. So, because we could see the commotion, they were all running in one direction with their wares taking off.
Yes.
And so he was like, we can't go get those things now, because now our truck it's clear this is a Kanjo truck.
Yes.
So of course, your persona non grata right now. In the middle of these hawkers, of course they will fight back. Oh,
they just don't run.
No,
At some point, they fight back.
Even to the point where there was some tear gas. So it was very chaotic.
Yes.
So I remember he told me, and you get out of the truck, get under. First, we cannot be found inside this thing, because you don't know, someone might throw something and cause it, a fire or something like that. So I quickly, that's exactly what I did. And I got under the truck, and he told me, you wait there until I tell you when we move, so that we get out of here. So for him, his primary objective was, how do I get this truck out of this place?
Okay.
Okay. Yes. And he knows that I'm in his custody. So he's trying to protect me as well. And so I'm under the truck, and we can see them taking off. Fortunately, cops came. So when the police came, they kind of were able to push them further down.
Okay.
So we quickly got into the truck, and he reversed that truck and all the way.
And this is after a few days. This was not your first day.
No, this was not my first day. It was like maybe week 2.
Why do you come the second day after the shock that that hit you on the first day?
I think I was fascinated by it all. So I think maybe plus the adrenaline of like, this is such a different world. Honestly, it's a very different world.
You adjusted that fast?
I didn't adjust. To be honest, I didn't adjust. I think I was also maybe in shock to begin with, but I was also very curious. So I remember when we went to Dandora the first time, and that's when I learned, oh my goodness, so this dump site is actually not even controlled by the county per se. Because I remember when we went to tip the waste, after the weighbridge, we had people telling us where to go and dump the waste. And I'm like, where are they guiding us? And so he was like, there are people who control this place and where a certain waste goes. So of course, they appreciate a vehicle that belongs to the government, and they have a place they go, but not all trucks come. So typically the trucks, when they come to dump waste, they stop before they get into Dandora. Then you see, yeah, you have to. It's not optional. You cannot just drive in. So you stop, people get in, and they remove what is recyclable or what they can sell. So they have to scavenge the truck first.
They have for the county vehicles or the council vehicles. They don't all vehicles, including that.
All vehicles.
So now I can't. What you're saying is, I get a bag. You're investing in the recycling ama the garbage business. Iko na lori yangu, and I want to niende ama msamaria mwema niende nipeleke takataka where I see the dump site. I can't do that.
You can, but there's a fee to be paid, and there's an order of how things work there. So the order is inside. Once you cross the weighbridge, you'll have to find a place to tip. You have to find a place to tip. You're not the one to determine that. It's determined for you. So they will guide you where to go tip. And it's intentional. They usually know your truck usually carries a lot of organic waste, or it carries a lot of plastics or cartons, etc. They'll tell you, they'll direct you.
And it's a system that works there, and even the government can't interfere.
I don't think. I haven't seen any of the governments since then to date that has really tried to disrupt that system. Also, I guess because it supports livelihoods, but there are people who run the system in there.
Understood. So now you start with a dream of probably working for the UN and stuff. Where do you give up on this dream to go in, to go all in the recycling business? Basically, bado ni garbage, but value, creating value from.
So for me, so after my internship, I went, graduated, and then I did work for an American company in the waste business, but we were doing textiles. So ideally, we would get typically what you call mitumba. So we would collect clothes from all over the Midwest and the West Coast in terms of used clothes. We'd work together with Salvation Army and other organizations, have our bins, and they put all the clothes there. Then they go into our factories, it's sorted, it's billed, and then we ship it out to countries as mitumba. That's how mitumba is actually.
Wait.
Yes.
This is not in Kenya?
No. This is in Arizona, in Phoenix.
Why am I getting Mari vibes?
It is.
It is.
It is. Look, mitumba it's used clothing by other people.
Rewind and come back again. how does mitumba? Okay, for the people who are
don't
less
know.
informed,
Yeah.
we think mitumba are clothes left behind by dead people. That's not.
No, not necessarily. So it's not entirely not true. It's not that it's not true, but it's not 100% the case. So in my house, I could choose, I'm tired of my clothes and I want to donate them to either Goodwill. So in America, you have Goodwill, you have Salvation Army, and several other organizations. So they have these bins that they have put in different places and even shops. So you can go and take these clothes there.
Just
and
to go.
furniture, everything, shoes, anything that is used that you want to discard.
Hata furniture, kila kitu.
Even furniture. So then there are companies like the one I was working for that would then pick up that material. Because of our business and our customers, because we were serving customers, South America, Africa, we would try to get the premium grade, which is really the high quality, not highly used clothes.
So you have the process of sorting them
there's
out.
a sorting process. So we had a lot of like Spaniards, in Arizona, you have a lot of, the Spanish community is very large, from Mexico. So we'd have a lot of them working in the factory, sorting the material.
Spaniards is a polite name for Mexicans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hola, yes.
Yes.
So very, very nice people. They would do a lot of the sorting
Yes.
and then grading. After that, then you know which market takes what. So then
You know which market takes what.
You do know which market takes what. So after that, then based on different orders, we send the different consignments throughout to our markets.
Just for clarity, huku from the knowledge kidogo niko nayo ya what mtumba is, we hear, camera is premium. So there is camera for Kenya and camera for another market. Camera for Kenya is same for Brazil.
So camera is camera. Camera is
the top grade.
Top grade, not used, has not been used, hasn't degraded, deteriorated. It almost looks like and feels like new.
Okay.
The use wear and tear is very limited. So you have those builds, they have very little waste.
Also, the sorting,
Yes.
it is your company
Yes.
or companies like yours
Yes.
that was sorting them into bales.
Yes. So you know that this grade. So there are markets that would be able to take a grade 2 because of that's what the people there are buying. Grade 2 might be it's less premium. It does have a little bit more degraded and likely to have some waste in it. Waste in the sense of, and this happens in a lot of countries, like trash, like, clothes you would not wear. So where I worked, and I think that was our company policy, everything we would send out could be worn. So we never used to sell out anything that would be trash, but we did have a grading system.
So the business case here, kwanza hapo umekuja place poa sana. The business case for your company was the sorting and packaging. So in this sense, like let's say if I was in America, najua there is that structure. There is no particular order to which you can collect from those points. Mtu yote, any Kenyan now in
Anyone
America,
can go collect and you bring it, and that's why you have to have another level of sorting. Because now when you go, remember, Kingori has thrown his things there, Joyce has thrown her things there, so you can't quite tell at that point. It's only when you take it to the factory to now begin sorting where you have to look at every item.
So this is like a textile company,
Yes.
but minus the manufacturing.
Correct.
They don't have the overheads of manufacturing.
No. So for us, the waste, because there's, the clothes that come and they're completely torn and really...
See, that's season unfinished.
Exactly. So what we would do, we would make industrial clothes that are used in industries. So there are rags that are used in industry. We call them wipes.
Kanye West anavaa hizo
Now it's Vogue.
Yes,
now
yes,
it's
yes.
Vogue. Then it wasn't. So we wouldn't have any waste. Because even the items that were highly degraded, we would repurpose them to make wipes for industries.
So for how long do you work with this company, and what do you learn from there?
I learned a lot of things. So one that I always say I really enjoyed working for them, and my boss specifically. I felt he was a believer in people, empowering people. And so for me, he really inspired me And I think a lot of how I lead today has a lot to do with him, with a lot of empathy,
Yeah.
a sense of trying to put myself in someone else's shoes.
Yes. Yes.
Because I remember by the time I was leaving him, I was earning a 6-figure salary. And I remember going to tell him, this is not what I studied for.
In America?
Here.
By the time you're leaving Kenya?
Yes. I was in Kenya, so I would sit in the Kenya office. I would sit in the Kenya office. Yes,
yeah.
yes. But I would
It's
travel.
not like you were stationed in
No,
America,
I was
Arizona.
I was stationed here.
Na ukarise mpaka 6-figure salary locally.
Yes, I was earning a 6-figure. I'm very quite young. That was in 2008.
Give us your account of career progression. And how this experience ya Kanjo ties to you growing to a 6-figure salary.
So I didn't at that point life was just good. I kept moving in pay, got a 6-figure salary. Then of course, like every young person, I'm like, oh, now I can go do my master's. So I was doing it part-time. But I kept feeling like a nudge, like I really wanted to be in the thick of things when it comes to real hardcore environmental work.
Okay.
More technical, because I was doing a lot more project management for the American company. So I remember when I went to tell him I need to leave and go and pursue more technical work along the lines of environmental work. And I remember he said, oh my goodness, no, let's do something together. I remember he said, we can start an NGO and you can, kind of run with it. And so it kept me there for another 3 months because I wasn't sure also, I didn't have another job. I was asking to leave without the prospect of another job.
Was the money umeweka kidogo ya 6-figure inakuwasha? Was that your motivation?
I know, it's so strange. It wasn't, no. It was a very big gamble and it gets even more complicated because now, that level of independence, you started feeling it.
Yes.
So I was like, I'll get out there and I have some skills now, some experience. I'll be able to get something. I mean, how hard can this be?
Yes.
So I'd been trying to apply for work while I was there, but I didn't get anything. Okay. And so by the time I was leaving,
you were trying to apply for work and you didn't get work.
I know, because it was very hard. I remember and even now I know there are some people who will still think it is. Environment as an area of practice was not the way it is today. So today you hear a lot of businesses talking about environment, social governance, sustainability. It wasn't the buzzword then.
Even in the greater spectrum.
No, I remember even when I was in university, people would ask me, what are you going to become when you graduate? Are you a herbologist or what? It wasn't until Wangari Maathai. Yes. Wangari Maathai won her Nobel Peace Prize. So people started being like, oh, so this is like trees and stuff like that. I'm like, no, but if you get it at that level, that's fine.
Okay.
So I left and I remember I got an internship. My internship, they said, yeah, because they could see I'd done my internship at Nairobi City Council. So that was interesting to them.
You're saying it very formally. It wasn't Kanjo then?
It was Kanjo. So Kanjo, so they were like, okay, because you have this, come. And I went. So it was a firm that I was very happy to work with because they'd done a lot of really big projects.
Yes.
So I was really excited, looking forward to it. So I just wanted I just wanted to get in. So they said, you can, but it's only an internship we can give you. And this internship, we can only pay you a stipend of 15,000 shillings.
Per month?
Yes.
But this is in
This is late 2008 now. This is like November 2008.
15K is still good money.
No, from a 6-figure salary. I was like,
no, you are downgrading.
Yes, complete downgrade, not just downgrade. So I'm from 6-figure salary to 15,000 shillings per month.
Na ukakubali kwenda.
I said, let's go.
You were tired with the 6 figures. You wanted to start afresh.
No. When I look back now, and even at the time, I think I was looking to build my skills and knowledge technically in the area of environment. So it's very easy, and a lot of people I know, and even to date, they'll get the environment degree, but because they are not able to get somewhere placed along that area, you'll find them in banking and different things. But I really wanted to be in the environmental space. I really wanted to practice it.
Unajua,
Yes.
conversations are very interesting with a dose of jealousy.
Yes.
So that we, tukiwa balanced,
Yes.
people, 6 figure is such a, it's a big number. Give us a number that you climbed down from.
I was doing like 150,000 by the time I was
per month.
Yes. And now I was getting 15,000.
Ukashuka mpaka 15,000.
Yes. So it was just so whoop, like, okay, what happens? And I did not know how long. So the internship was open-ended. So it wasn't they were saying, come for 3 months, and then after 3 months, we'll switch you. No, it wasn't like that.
Do you know what 150,000 could do in Kibaki era?
I know. I always joke. I used to walk into the bank and they'd be like, "Hi, Joyce." After that, it changed. Yes, but pretty much.
No, for real.
I know.
Sasa, I'm sorry, wadau, I'm mixing up hizi vitu, but something I'd like to pick you on. Tutajitafuta tujipate tena. You say there's something you learned, and this you said offline. You learned in your work with Kanjo, the 3-month stint, that leads, ama you can attribute to you making your first million. Yeah. So your first million is not even in this line of work, 6 figures?
No, it isn't.
Tell us about your first million.
So I remember, so now I'm at my internship, 3 months, and I think come February 2009, we have one of the bilateral partners to Kenya, I think it was the Dutch government.
Yes,
they said, we want to do a project around waste management in Kenya. And our firm, at the time, it was a consultancy firm I was working for, they said, we want to work with you. But do you have any experience and knowledge of the waste management ecosystem, specifically with Nairobi and the county, now Kanjo and etc. So I remember my boss was like, didn't you were at Kanjo for 3 months?
Yes.
You have contacts there? I'm like, yeah, I still have contacts. So this is how I got onto the project, and this is how I now moved into earning a salary after 3 months of my internship. But in tandem, when we started that project, then I remember JICA wanted to do an integrated solid waste management plan for Nairobi County. Again, because the firm I was working for was already doing work on waste management, they again got roped in.
Yes.
So I remember my commissions for that year.
Yes.
I remember I got 1 million shillings. 1 million shillings, and I was like, whoa.
Then.
So yeah, I did. So that's how I made my
this is interesting. In this stint, the company that you are working with, Pande Arizona, ya Mtumba, didn't you have insights on how much money people are making?
I did.
Just for selling Mtumba, and you had direct access?
I did. And I also had direct access to the customers. A lot of the customers. There are some customers that I would engage with directly. Actually, the heavy movers, I would engage with them directly. So I knew the kind of money they are making. I knew how much they were paying us. I did know.
For real?
I did know.
How do you beat the temptation of getting into the business? Ama onja pesa yao kidogo? No,
I wasn't keen to do it. And I think because of the nudging I had inside of me at the time, wanting to get into the environment space, I still wasn't feeling like I want to do this. And also I felt like, I know how it's done. If I ever want to do it, I could do it. So I didn't feel the need to be drawn into it from a business perspective, no.
You sound like a person, and correct me if I'm wrong, who has a very clear distinction between money and purpose.
Yes. So I do like to live with purpose. This is my primary driving force, is usually purpose driven.
You don't struggle to adjust from a lifestyle of a six-figure salary, 150,000 to 15,000. Hakuna struggle
No,
at all.
It's a struggle, especially if you love the finer things. It's a struggle. But I kept telling myself that I was going to learn something that money would not have paid for. No classroom would have taught me,
Yes,
to
yes,
be
yes.
honest, because I'd come from the classroom.
Yes,
No
yes.
classroom would have taught me. The contacts I was making at the farm, all those things, I wouldn't have been able to get them otherwise. And actually, in hindsight now, had I not made that decision, I don't think I would be where I am today.
Napenanga, I love philosophy so much, and I'm struggling to run away from that line. Yeah, ati your short stint at Kanjo. Would you have stuck to your guns that maze, hii suti yangu, I'm not getting into a Kanjo track? There's no way you would have accessed an opportunity. So you had contacts at
I
Kanjo.
wouldn't have. Because there was no one else in the farm at that time when the Dutch organization came asking for waste expertise. Nobody else knew what the waste landscape looked like.
So somehow your stint,
Yes.
your willingness to do that, to take that gig ya Kanjo is directly tied to everything that comes next. So would you say,
Woven into each other.
what does that, as in, have you ever thought about the relationship between success in later life and the chances we take before?
So for me, I'm a firm believer that everything is a plan. You know, people say it's like the matrix. So I do believe it's like that, and everything leads into the next. But of course, it comes with a level of sacrifice, obedience. Because I could have chosen to stay where I was. Would it have taken me longer? Maybe. Would I have missed it altogether? Possibly.
Okay. So now you are in recycling.
Yes.
And that's where we meet actually, PAKPRO, okay? But before we discuss recycling, would you, na pia tena I'm very interested in conversation and policy, would you take us through the garbage ecosystem?
Wow, the garbage ecosystem is very dynamic and intricate. So waste as you know it usually is you use whatever you use and then you throw it and then it goes. It goes where it goes.
Yes.
Most people know it's Dandora. Most people don't know Dandora. Most people have seen it in pictures. Others have imagined it, but they are highly unfamiliar with it. Dandora is the largest, I believe, dump site in this region. Highly unregulated in the sense it's not a landfill. So people, it's just a big space where people have been throwing waste for
A
decades.
landfill means somewhere
A
that has
landfill
been...
is constructed, lined. So there's no leakage going into the ground. Today, if you go to Dandora, there's an entire black river that passes because of all the leachate that seeps from your waste. Remember, 60% of the waste we produce is organic.
60%. Okay.
Yeah. So when it begins to break down, it produces that water, the liquid stuff, leachate, and that has to go somewhere.
So is that why Nairobi River is black?
No. So it's one of the many reasons. There's a lot of pollution upstream from houses. We have a sewage problem in Kenya and Nairobi. So a lot of institutions, households are not connected to sewer systems.
Okay.
So a lot of people are discharging their effluent directly into the river.
So it's not...
It's not a landfill, it's a dump site.
Okay.
It's a dump site again. Over the years, it has its own world in there. So when you go to Dandora, there are people who run and operate and manage organic waste. So organic waste in itself is a business. There are people who will come to buy it to feed their pigs, to go and make feeds, to be able to either use as manure, but you buy it. So there are people who represent that sector in there.
That's how we have millionaires in the dump site.
Yes. Then there are others who are handling glass. There are others who handle aluminium cans. There are others who handle plastics, all types of plastics, cartons, etc. So you cannot just walk in and say, I'm here.
So now, if you handle plastics, say for example, who makes money here? Because unaona, the people who collect plastics, from my assessment, I remember growing up, the chupa ya soda, that's the thing. There are people who collect metals for scrap. There are people who collect the bottles, soda bottles. Yeah. And soda bottles, at some point, big companies used to compensate up to 10 bob a bottle.
It's
so
still
it
there.
would make
it's
sense.
It's still there until now. It's still there until now, where you have a deposit. So for most beer and soda would typically have a deposit. But now, since we have a lot of people who are switching, so you have a lot of water nowadays that's in water, that's in glass bottles. Before it was in plastic bottles. Now you have a lot of companies, you begin to see they're in glass, water in glass bottles.
Yes.
Before it would not have a deposit and it would not go back, but now they've started putting systems to collect it back and go wash them and refill. But we still have beer, wine, spirits
So
that
who
are
makes
going
money? Who makes money? Where is money in plastic waste? Where is money
in the waste system.
Yes.
So it's at different points. So the person who's charging you at your home for collection is earning some money. Okay. The person in the truck that is moving that waste to the dump site, there are some people who are very quick at recovering. So whenever you see the trucks coming to your home, you'll see that there are some 2 people who sit on top of the truck. Those 2 people usually know how to quickly sort what is valuable.
Without getting hurt, because no one cares about how
It's a system. By the time they are done with collecting from your place to Dandora or where they are dumping, they have removed what is good for them and they have gone to sell it.
Same philosophy ya mtumba.
Same. Commodities are the same. Waste is a commodity.
So that, okay, there is one, the person who collects makes money. The person who, the 2 guys on top of the truck,
making money.
Yeah, they're making money.
Now, there are people who have set up small businesses on the roads, along the roads, to your way to the dump sites, where Kingori comes with maybe 2 kilos, 1 kilo of, let's say, plastic bottles. He sells to him, he'll buy. This person, we call him an aggregator. So he's aggregating different materials from different people, and he will eventually take that material to a recycler. Okay? That person makes money, and he actually makes the most money in the value chain. Because he's closest to the recycler.
So the closer you are to the recycler,
the more the money you make.
And there is recycler who I believe you fall in the category of makes money from now getting raw materials.
So we actually support the entire value chain. So we are not a recycler, but we do support recyclers so that they get enough material so that the material for our members is able to move. Yeah. Because what we don't want is this material lying around in the environment.
We had a conversation with the environment chief officer of Nairobi County, Musiria, and he had this idea. Yeah, and it sounds very good when presented. Yeah, waste to energy plant, okay? Where even you yourself kwa nyumba yako, hata you don't even need wasi wa takataka wakam. You can sell it directly. In fact, you can convert that into token. You can and probably make some good money from where I sit, from how we explain. Like, mi situpangi takataka, naenda deposit somewhere. It's a beautiful idea, and it's an idea that comes across like it would suck out the dump site. And in my head, I'm a simple-minded man, so nafanyanga hesabu simple. I'm like, so dump site wakeza nini wapatie these people other jobs, and then probably now the dump site becomes a whole new city again. Then you come from a different perspective. Yeah, already there are opportunities. There are people benefiting from the system as is, right? So another idea wipes them out.
Yeah, because Look, waste to energy facilities. One, a lot of countries are actually switching off waste to energy facilities. Those who have them, the technology they are using is a critical factor. So waste to energy facilities traditionally actually are very high emitters of pollution. So when we're talking about climate change, they do produce significant emissions.
Yes.
And so it's not the optimum method that would be deployed to actually manage waste. It's an easy way to manage waste at face value because you get rid of this waste immediately. So I cannot see it anymore, and it's making energy, and energy feeds into the grid. We have power like we do. But when you do a cost-benefit analysis, and cost-benefit analysis of this type of investments usually needs to look at not just the economics, you need to look at the social dimension. So, like you rightly said, we have people in Dandora, an entire ecosystem that are relying on these materials.
Yes.
So what happens to them in the event we deploy a waste to energy facility? And
it's not possible for them to be absorbed into the new system.
Can't. Look, it's a factory. How many people can be employed? And it's highly automated. Highly automated. So even if you have some people where you say you want to have a sorting line, not everyone inside the dump site is going to find a job. It's not possible.
So now, your reaction versus how I received that idea for the first time, and I mix that with your policy experience, I'm like, can policies actually work, or we have to accept that policies are partial?
No, policies can work, especially when they're done in a harmonious way. So if Nairobi City Council and Nairobi City County want to go ahead with a waste to energy facility, and I keep saying the issue is it hasn't been socialized properly. So as a private entity that has a vested interest in the waste system in Nairobi County, a lot of us are unfamiliar with the project. So we cannot tell you that this is what the project will look like. So it hasn't been socialized to us.
Yes.
And so the question is, has it also not been socialized to the waste collectors who are operating at the dump site, the waste collection companies that are currently servicing your homes and mine? Because remember, Nairobi County, yes, is the issuing authority for licenses, which means they would likely force all waste collection companies to tip the waste at that facility. Okay? Which means Dandora then doesn't get that waste. It goes directly into the facility. But the dynamic of how are we going to cater for an industry like the recycling industry, for instance? So the people who have already set up enterprises to convert these materials into new things. For organic waste, people who want to, and remember the world is moving into organic food. So it's a big thing. We have companies today that are looking for thousands of tons of organic waste to be able to make feed for animals, to be able to make organic manure, which is in very high demand. But they're not able to even get enough volumes. Yet there's so much trash lying around. And so for me,
they're not getting enough.
They're not getting enough. They're not getting enough. And it's because I feel like as a country, and specifically at the county level, the focus needs to be, how do we improve collection? How do we improve collection of our waste? So we can come up with very many ways to treat the waste. Waste to energy is a treatment.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that the waste is being collected properly. It doesn't mean we will stop seeing waste in our rivers. We will stop seeing waste on the roads. It will continue because we have a waste collection problem.
Waste collection problem.
Yes.
Does that sound like an opportunity for more people to get?
It is, absolutely. And so I always say that's where the real opportunity is, especially if it can be innovative. And I know maybe there's a temptation. So smaller counties might be able to service waste collection as the county. But for larger counties like this one, Nairobi, maybe Mombasa, Kisumu, you might find that you do need to supplement it with private companies, or for the counties themselves to enter into public-private partnerships that contract waste collection service as a county service, but through a private entity.
Isn't that where cartels come in?
So in that regard, it's easier to manage. I think it's where cartels are coming in now is because you have so many players you have so many players who have been allowed into it. And everyone, of course, wants to go where affordability, willingness to pay is. Where are we not seeing these private companies running to Kibera to service Kibera? Where are we not seeing them going to Mathare, running to Mathare to go? It's because the people there cannot be able to afford a certain rate for these collection services.
Here's where nilikuwa nakwambia policy before we discuss how to identify the opportunities. You have painted a picture for me that challenges some of the things I've believed in. When you pass by Dandora dump site, you're like, could we have a better image for country? Our people in Dandora look like they need help.
They do.
But from the story is, there are people who have money, proper money, even better money than people doing, more money than people doing white-collar jobs because of the existence of that facility, right?
And so you see, for me, I would still remove the people from Dandora. I would.
And take them where?
To an intermediary facility where still waste is coming through, but it's able to segregate the waste before. So people are able to quickly just take what is recyclable and go and sell. It's unsanitary and inhumane to have human beings working in Dandora. And it's not a fit for purpose, fit for health, environment.
And in an ideal world, from your experience, nothing should go to waste. In this sense,
to be frank, there is material that you can't do much with, and that can be incinerated or used to convert to energy.
But a big percentage?
A good chunk of the waste we produce. There's no do you know how much money we spend on fertilizer, importing fertilizer in this country?
Sasa hapo ndio policy na come. Tell us what the reality looks like in terms of opportunity if our country was functioning at optimum capacity in that regard.
So for me, I look at, and it's really basic, we need to be able to fortify the organic waste we are collecting either into feeds or organic fertilizers.
Okay.
And it can be fortified so that we use it based on what our soil requirements are. It shouldn't be something that is going into a dump site to degrade there. No, it can be done in a controlled environment, and that is then used. All the seed beds that we have, every county, is there any county that doesn't have flowering projects? Every county is planting seed beds, trees, potting. We have a 15 billion tree campaign, if I'm not wrong.
Now, what's the practicality? Tuanze na, there's an opportunity for organic fertilizer. We import fertilizer for our crops, right? And we import fertilizers. Kwa hii fertilizer we import, you're saying that with scenes kama Dandora dump site, if we had someone set up a factory, they have enough raw material.
We have material. Will
they make money?
Yes, you will. And you see, so this is where policy, remember, and I always say this, the government's work is to create a favorable business environment. And that's where policy comes. If policy was to drive consumption toward organic inputs, policy was to drive consumption towards ensuring that the organic waste being generated in our markets, in our restaurants, is being segregated, not contaminated, so that it's able to be converted immediately. We would do that. And the money would follow because it's a policy directive. So investors like to know that this is where there's a law that is here, that there's a space for me to create a market, because the demand is surely there.
Unajua, we recently had, this hits different levels of me because we had a fertilizer scandal. Like, people are sold fertilizer and it actually goes into the total cost of production.
It does.
For plants.
It's an input, a real input.
So if we could set up a factory that can convert organic waste into fertilizer, that's an opportunity.
Remember, and if you so look at Kenya and the agreements we've been signing lately. Look at the one that we signed with the EU. When you look at horticulture, is a big part of our business in Kenya for the export market. Whether it's your French beans, your herbs, all these things. If you look at the requirements by the EU market in terms of fertilizer, they don't want you using a lot of fertilizer on those crops. They want you to use the organic kind. You understand? So we are having a problem getting enough for our market.
So hii umaskini yetu, this poverty yetu ni ya kujiwekelea.
Kujitakia. It's choice. Choice. So for me, I feel like, and that's why you need to have policy that's driving trade, policy driving innovation, policy that is driving enterprise, policy that is driving growth.
Okay.
As long as our policy is not looking in that direction, we have a problem.
And do you think this mindset, fixed mindset of ours, that you finish school, get the job you want, and I hope this speaks to someone who's been tamarking since 1992, because there are people, this mindset that I have to do what I studied for can be blamed for lack of innovation.
Yeah, it can. It is absolutely right, but also it starts at that university level or at the tertiary education. Let me not even call it university, tertiary education level. If we don't have a lot of, even at the technical university,
Yes,
where we are trying to drive enterprise development. Everyone is being taught and trained to get employed. But this is, we are not all going to be employed. It's just not possible. More importantly though, and I don't blame them, is access to credit to be able to begin these enterprises. It doesn't work, it's limited.
but we have a problem. These ideas sound good as ideas, but implementation, like say for example, I had that a place like Kibra, they had the slum upgrading project. But there are already people benefiting from the slums as they are.
Yes.
An idea like the one I mentioned here, Musiria, and the counter arguments make sense. Like, when you introduce this, this is the counter. I'm sure experts, if experts are involved on the possibility of creating organic fertilizer farms, there is someone being taken out of business. And that's someone.
And that you'll find that there are some people who currently rely on it to sell it now to other people. But when we do, and this is what I was telling you, when you look at the cost benefit, how many more people are going to be impacted? What is the aggregated benefit of setting up a facility that processes this organic waste? We talk agriculture. I mean, it's so broad. It's so broad.
Okay.
So whereas we are looking at the waste going to Dandora and Joyce is there in the dump site, she's selling to Kingori. This is not it. This is not growth. So we need to move to the next level. This is the thing. We need to move to the next level.
So would you say, Pia, that we the reason why we don't experience growth in sectors that have potential, like in the recycling, garbage, and the whole ecosystem, is because people are comfortable where they are? Like, for example, someone who collects garbage, the target is to get as many people as possible paying you, and you make your money. Do you think we can change that mindset? Yeah,
you can. But sometimes I say, and this is where policy comes in, you require people to shift your thinking for you. And that's what policy is supposed to do, to shift our thinking for us. So if I'm used to collecting my money as is right now in the dump site, any idea that comes that looks to removing me from the dump site, I will oppose it, regardless. Whether it's a good idea, it doesn't matter. But we need to get to a place where whatever policies we are developing as a country are shifting us in a direction that allows people to move with it. It might not be all of us, but the net effect, when you look at it, is going to be much greater to the economy than what we currently are doing. Because status quo is not sustainable.
That's the word actually. Status quo.
It's just not sustainable.
You have nearly 20 years experience in corporate leadership. Your transitions are very interesting. What do you tell people when you hawajapata job, when you wanna struggle in a job? As in people, there are people who are working but they are struggling with the work. And it takes a very special mindset to quit where unapata the dosage your daily dosage the slow poison salary.
I know.
The slow poison.
Because you need to pay bills and take care of self.
How do you break free from that? And for the people looking for work, what's the strategy?
So for me, purpose is really, really fundamental. And I know people say, find the thing you love to do and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yes.
They make it sound very glamorous and rosy. It usually isn't. It usually isn't. But I find that if you follow the path of what you love to do, and what you love to do usually will have a net effect in terms of impacting other people's lives.
There's
always.
There's a challenge to that. What you love to do sometimes may not be marketable.
Like what? Give me an example.
I'll quote an example of a guest we had on the show, Rina Hicks. She's an investment banker. Alituambia, what you love to do, she loves to sing.
To sing?
Yes.
But can she sing?
She can sing, but she loves to sing. But she says no one would be willing to pay to listen to her sing.
You see, this is now the thing.
So you may love you may love something that does not have money.
It's true, but the question is her gift that she carries in her, does it bother her enough that that's the only thing she's thinking about doing?
Let me give you an example with your story. You fall in love with the environment. Okay, you find yourself in the world of environment, not because you loved the environment at first.
I wanted something. Actually, I was going there for glamour.
Seriously? For UNEP. The person
was all about the glamour, the lifestyle, travel.
Only to end up in a kanjo tribe. Okay? So this was not what you loved. But somehow, I think your progression, and correct me if I'm wrong, is not about your love for what you do, but your willingness to adjust and to give your best to any circumstance that was thrown at you.
No, so I do love what I do. And I love it. And sometimes it can be a weakness, by the way. I do love what I do. I love it in the sense, I love that I'm able to create change, impact, very important. So these are the things I love to do. I love to solve societal issues, things that are plaguing us as humanity. This is what I love to do. And even when I was younger, maybe I wanted to be a doctor. If I think back to why I wanted to be, it was because to bring healing to people. But at the heart of it, for me, it's about transformation, change, impacting lives. So this is what I love to do. And I guess for me, I've found that in the work that I do. You found that in the work that you do? Yes. So not the love that took you. No. So I find that now, and I like to say sometimes the work we do is a bit thankless Like, who knows? Okay, you are cleaning the...
Thankless na unatupigia story ya your first million time ya Kibaki.
You know, that's not you know, there are people who get more accolades for other work. Ours is not that kind of
I
job.
would rather be rich in private. I'd rather be rich in private
It's not
than accolades.
no, it's not. So it's, and you see, this is what everyone has their own thing that they're looking for.
Yes, yes.
So it's also very easy sometimes when you're in the work that we do to get carried away and start feeling like, you know, it becomes so personal.
Yeah.
It becomes very personal, becomes a part of who you are. And maybe sometimes that is limiting in the sense of how big a picture can I draw for my life and my ambition. Yeah, I would say pretty much.
Interesting way to put it. Before we close, I'd like to, if you could share 3 things with our audience. Ya kwanza, do you think there's a chance for someone finishing campus now, when you look back at you logging out of campus, to get the opportunities that you've gotten?
Yes, and even more.
How so?
I feel like, especially the generation that is younger than us, they're bold, they're fearless, they are not afraid to try different things. They are not afraid to venture. So many might think in my story, that was brave, like you did that. But I put it to you, the generation that is younger behind me, they are bolder.
Okay.
They are willing to try out very many things. They are not afraid of no. They are not afraid to be told no. They're not afraid to be told no. So I do think they can.
The second thing I was to ask was the spirit of quitting without knowing where you're going, but the drive in you inakusukuma that you land well. Okay? How do you develop that? Ama unajua unaweza kuwa uliguess na ukaangukia.
No,
you are a beneficiary of betting.
I've done that twice. So it's not, for me, I typically get uncomfortable when I do not feel that I'm in the place that is edifying to myself and others. When I feel like I'm not stretching myself, I typically will be very unsettled.
Or you don't wait out things?
No. I'm very quick in making that decision.
Okay.
I'm able to quickly see that I'm not adding value to this process, and so I don't want to continue in this engagement.
Sawa. This is our final thing. First of all, thank you for sparing your time to come share your knowledge with us. And to be fair to you, you represent, you're the CEO wa PAKPRO, sindio? Tell us something about PAKPRO. Alafu tutafunga na, when someone reads your story, it goes against the stereotype, yeah? Members of your gender who've enjoyed success cannot thrive in marriage under any circumstances. Yeah, but nyinyi bado after almost over 20 years mnapiga Netflix and chill. You'll tell us something about that, but to be fair to you, tell us something about PAKPRO.
So PAKPRO is Kenya's first producer responsibility organization. And we have we are 200 plus member organization, representing multinationals, our local super brands, medium and small enterprises, to ensure that their packaging material is handled throughout its life cycle.
Producer responsibility.
Yes, producer
From ule mtu ajui
responsibility.
kabisa, what does that mean?
So the law today in Kenya, there's a law, it is mandatory that for any company that introduces any product into the market, that company must ensure they manage that packaging material, for instance, after you and I have used it. So if I use your tea bag for your tea, the company that has put that tea bag into the market must ensure that that tea bag is not going to go into the environment.
Yes.
It must be collected for treatment. So that's why it's producer responsibility.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
So we have been doing this for the last 6.5 years with success. To date, we've done nearly collection of 2 billion bottles of PET, plastic bottles, what you use for your water and soda. Yeah.
Nafanya mathematics hapa. Unajua
2 billion
plastic,
bottles.
2 billion bottles.
You
So,
can make kilometers of it.
na moja mnauza how much? 10
So
bob.
a kilo of PET bottles when we started was 7 shillings a kilo.
But that's 1 million bottles.
Today, a kilo is nearly 40 shillings.
From 7 bob.
Yeah. So that means a waste collector, when he takes those materials to a recycler, is paid 40 shillings a kilo.
And it's a sure bet. If I
It's a
show
sure
up kwa collector
Call
na
us.
40,
Call us. Sure bet.
no, a kilo.
Yes.
A kilo of plastic
Yes,
bottles ni
yes,
40 bob.
yes.
So let me
So
see.
that's about 30 to 40 bottles.
30 to 40 bottles.
So it's almost like now a bottle is 1 bob. Almost like.
So if I can have gari yangu nikuwe na collect 1,000, no, by default.
I'm
If I,
telling you.
kama niko na gari yangu
Yes.
and I collect kama 1,000 kgs, because I think
Yeah,
kagari
yeah, you
kavan
can,
kanaweza
you
beba
can.
1,000
Kanaweza,
kg
kanaweza.
ama pickup. Unaweza kuwa una make 40k
Per day.
daily.
Per day. And there are people making it. Or even, because that's a ton. So that's 1 ton. There are people who are doing 2 tons a day.
And it's a sure bet.
It's a sure bet.
Sitafika kwa gate mseme
No,
leo
no,
hatuna pesa
no,
nini.
no. And it's instant. You bring the product, you get your money in pesa.
Immediately. You just wait.
Yeah, yeah. We weigh, it's sorted, you agree, you get your money and you go.
Allah.
See?
Opportunities.
Now that's a good policy.
Na watu
To add
na
growth.
people out here wamekwama. I've seen people, a friend of mine akona malori anasema zimekuwa idle, biza kuna.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He can do transportation for a lot of waste, people who are collecting this waste. So a lot of people don't have enough transportation. They don't have transport.
So you
services.
just have to do the mathematics,
You
your
keep moving,
tonnage.
you collect there, you go there, you go there. He can do for him, if he has a good truck, he can do 3 tons a day.
And that's good money. And you're collecting the bottles for free.
Yeah, so you collect, you can pay someone, you can't pay,
To collect
so that you
for
get,
you.
but you pay them less, and then you go and get the difference. You get a
Margins.
margin, it's good.
And this is a
I've
ready
told
opportunity.
You, ready, real. We've been doing it for 7 years.
Location ni wapi?
So we have our recyclers. If you go to our website, www.pakpro.co.ke,
We'll share it hapa kwa
yes,
description.
you'll be able to see the different recyclers that we are working with. You can be able to access the prices for the different materials.
Thank you for that information. Malizia PAKPRO. Metoka 7 bob to 40 bob.
Yes. So ideally, within our membership, of course, together with the government, we've really worked. I think we are one of the few sectors that have worked with the government like this in developing the laws. So from a policy perspective, the Sustainable Waste Management Act, and now, of course, the Extended Producer Responsibility Regulations, and we continue to evolve. It's a very new industry.
Yes.
Very new globally. So it's not that it's just new in Kenya or in Africa, it's new globally, and everyone is trying to get what works best for their local context.
Okay.
So we've been doing that together with government for the last 6 years. I think for the future, our hope and aspiration is to be the best at what we do, delivering the kind of results that ensure the environment is clean and that we keep putting people first.
Okay. Sawa. Tukifunga, is it true? Or how have you managed? And it's a very big debate. In fact, tuko nayo coming up. Naturally, ati members of your gender, ukishika do kidogo, marriage is not your portion. Now, wewe, to be categorical, there's an article about you on the Business Daily. Wanasema you've been with, and at the right time that article was written, mko pamoja for 20 years. I don't know how recent it was. That's the only thing nilisahau kuangalia the date. 20 years na mnapiga story ya Netflix and chill. Is it true ama hizo ni stories za gazeti?
It's true. So I've been with my partner since we were in university.
Since campus.
Since campus. Now we've been married. This is our 11th year of marriage. 9 years dated, 11th year marriage. Yes. We have a
So,
family.
hata ukiquit 6 figures, you had a consultant.
No, but he was just my boyfriend that time.
But you had a consultant.
We did, and so and I always say this. So for me, my partner is my greatest support system. Yeah. So he's actually he pushes me very hard. Very hard.
What does that mean?
He pushes me like, you can do this, move into this, get into this, follow this, your passion. This is what you want to do. He's always been there doing that.
Now, do you support him in such moves?
I do.
Kutoka 150,000 mpaka 15,000?
I do. If he wanted to, I do. I
but
think
he has not wanted
the beauty of being together for as long as we have has been understanding each other, what drives the other person. Where is your heart? Where does it lie? What drives your passions? Yes.
20 years and you can mix success na marriage.
We do.
Na hapo katikati unaongelea first million kibaki time and you're still in marriage.
Yeah. I remember even when I made that first million, it was like, oh, now what do I do with this money? How do we go? How do I do it? Da, 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 da. Yeah.
Where your relationship with money needs to be investigated. What do I do with this money?
No, yeah, because I didn't want to splurge. I hadn't touched that kind of money before. And I always say when you make your first million, you feel like the ground you're walking on is different. Your mind completely just,
The first million is my favorite experience to listen to. When you talk of the first million, is it the first lump sum of 1 million locked in cash?
Yes. Not this your salary coming every month. It's 1 million shillings payout here. Because it's different. Being paid 1 million shillings at once
versus building it.
Is two different things.
My first experience, I blew it.
It's normal.
Mine was stupid. Mine was like, ikikaa 1 million hivyo as a figure, si acha nitoe 900 and something looks neat.
So that I see. You'll keep doing that until it's 9 shillings.
No, I noticed at a time, notice, nimeichomoa mpaka iko 150 and there's something I needed to do 200. So I don't have it.
So you had that So what I did with mine was, I remember at the time people would go to Turkey, bring clothes and things like that. So I got a few orders here and I went to Turkey and I brought things. So I brought even some TV screens, for people.
Allah.
Yeah, so I did make more. I did make it into more money.
Oh, you multiplied?
I did. I made it into more money.
Sikuwa nataka kusarei story, but I can't avoid the temptation.
Yes.
So, was it through consultation that you advised on how to multiply?
Not really. So
just tell us about the Turkey gig alafu tufunge. Kuna mtu anaokolewa hapa maisha yake.
So for me at the time, because I was like, okay, I didn't want to buy a car. Because I was like, now what do I do? Remember it was a commission. So my commission aggregated came to 1 million shillings.
Yes.
And I was like, this is not what I'm earning every month. If I do not use this properly, it will definitely completely be wiped away.
Okay.
And so I remember, of course, I asked around, people who, at that time, people were going to Turkey quite a bit.
Yes.
So I said, how does it work? What are the costs? How does it look like? How much would this look like? How much does this cost? And so the rates were looking so good.
What to buy for.
Yeah, and what to come and sell in our market. I'm like, wow, I'm going to do it. So I remember two people gave me orders for TVs. 2-3 people. I think I brought in 4 TVs, huge TV screens. And then clothes, duvets, men's clothes, women's clothes, shoes. It was just, yeah.
This is not where you get tempted with your insider information in the mitumba business at Ujaribu. No,
I didn't want to. I didn't want to because I also knew one thing. I didn't want to get sucked back into that space. So enterprise, I love business.
Yes,
I love business. I love turning 1 shilling into another. Just naturally, this I love to do.
with no particular area of specialization. Like you will study useme, what are people doing now? Then unaweka pesa hapo, you multiply.
No. So I like that. I just like it. And so for me, it's just that my heart lies elsewhere. So I always say when I retire, my retirement will be in business. Yeah, but it's because I like it. I like the idea that you can multiply something and make something else out of it. And so I didn't want to get into mitumba. I found like the demand for newer clothes, especially with the corporate people I was interacting with, was much higher. They were willing to pay more. You know, now mitumba almost has a cap in terms of the pricing that you'll sell it. But for the newer clothes, I didn't. And it actually started when I got 2 orders for the TV screens. They were like, can you bring this at this? And so they were like, I'll give you 50% deposit. So I didn't even, so it was good. My biggest fear, I think, for the screens was when they were coming is, are they going to break?
You too.
I wasn't sure.
That was the biggest risk.
I wasn't sure, but that was the biggest risk.
Okay.
It was.
Hiyo ni kitambo. Najua KRA is watching, but... Ni
kitambo, nililipa hizo taxes.
A long time ago.
Sure, I hope.
Okay. Asante sana, Joyce.
Thank you so much.
Asante sana for sharing your knowledge with us. Personally, I've enjoyed this conversation. I trust our audience has too. Nimesikia hiyo story ya garbage. I'll have the link hapa kwa description ya hii video. Go check. At 1 ton, 40,000 per day.
Yeah. Those are only plastic bottles. If you sell aluminum cans, it's even more money.
Asante. Thank you.